Oh my. I tell people, like, you taught me how to sing, so you can take credit for that. Yeah, so today we have a few singers who are going to sing some arias for us. We've got Chuck here on the piano. Say thank you, Chuck. I've done a lot of Masterclasses, and I'll be honest, you get up, you sing, and then the person gets up and works with you, and you sing it better. But you really sing it better because you're not as nervous anymore. So, before you even get up and sing it for the first time, I'm going to offer you, each of you, a challenge right out the gate, which is an acting thing. Think here just for a moment about a moment in your pieces where you can do something physical that is grounded in the text. It's grounded, it's attached to or grounded to something you're actually saying or singing about. And feel free to surprise yourself with what that is in the moment. Think about, premeditate a little bit. The people going later will have more time to think about this. But endeavor to do that this first time, and then we'll all try and guess what that physical attached thing was when you're done singing, and we'll go from there. So the first person singing is, what is your name?
Isaac.
Isaac. Okay, give a round of applause. Isaac!
Bro, yeah.
My guess was like the smile. Was that it?
Well, the smile and that thing at the end I came up with.
Yeah. Okay. So I think the flower thing, I was like, you could have come up with it. It almost felt like you probably thought about that before, right? A little bit. It's one of like it's almost a stage direction as a lyric of like, here's my flower. But I'll tell you, like, when you engage with the text like that in your body with your gestures, it's much more interesting. We kind of listen with our eyes in that way. Than like in the latter half of the piece where it felt like it got more general, you know. And it's easy to default to that. Maybe like when nerves are at play, or you maybe like in my case, I default to that when I'm singing an aria I haven't sung in a long time and I can't quite remember exactly what all the translation is in all the different areas. And so I'm like, well, if I just do this, it'll be fine. But it's terrifically boring in contrast to stuff you really ground in what you're saying. And I'd say like the hack for that is if it does get fuzzy in terms of like your word for word translation, because like that happens. It happens. I'm sure all your teachers are like, you gotta know it, and because they were with me. But in practice, it's really like there is that. But if you know the character of the piece, that's a stronger thing to play off of when you're performing. And so, if you had to describe the character of this piece in like a couple sentences, what would you say?
I would say Belcore is better than everybody else. He's better than everybody else. I would say he doesn't exactly. He tries to show off, but I think he also is trying very much to not show that he's showing off all the time, because I think he's just in general, he's a military man, so at the same time, his showing off might not be the same showing off that I might be doing.
Right. I would say, there's an even more specific thing you can go there where he's irresistible to women. And irresistible specifically to one woman, in this case, Adina.
Yes.
The person he's singing this off to.
Yeah.
And that's, it's good to know kind of like in your head that like there's a character of like, I'm irresistible, and I can be braggadocious about this as well, right? I'm essentially telling everyone, she cannot resist me, because look at me, right? Now, I don't know if that is something I rarely feel in my daily life as a person. And I feel like most people probably are a bit more humble than that. And so what I would say that I would endeavor to do as you're working on the character of this piece and how to act it, create some like physically grounded stuff, not only in the text but in the character too, is to do what was taught to me as, it's called thought exchange. It's like an acting technique. Essentially, it'd be the idea of like if I was getting up here, instead of thinking, okay, I have to appear as though I'm bragging about women can't resist my, what I got going on here. I would think about, well, what's something else I'm like braggadocious about? Like I'm really amazing at Super Smash Brothers, right? Or like I feel very confident in my ability to sing high C's, or something like that. And so that can be the thoughts. If that's what's really going on in your mind, because the audience doesn't need to know that. The audience just cares what's happening out and what they see and what's going on in your face. If you're thinking, no one has beaten me at Smash or ever will, what's going to come out in the character of the piece is, that's right. This. And that's sort of what you want in this piece. Is, so I'm not going to ask you in front of everyone, what is that thing for you? Do you have that thing? But try and think of something that you feel like is the thing you would most be willing to brag about in some kind of social scenario. And then try and sing the beginning again with that in your mind. It uses this out of theater, like, have come out. create your own dialogue for what that music is inside, and then act that out too. Invariably, you're gonna have a director who's just going to tell you what to do there, but sometimes you won't. I've had this experience with directors where, like, and then you'll sing your aria, and then this will happen. And you get nothing. You get nothing, like, you're not directed to do anything, really. You just said, here's the place on stage I want you to be at the beginning and end of it. Go. And so that's why I say it's important to spend enough time on your own in your practice of this to conceive of, like, your character of it. Because, you know, and maybe like the director won't necessarily like it, but at least you'll have that to work from in the gaps. And I think so that's my tool for, you know, like that break in between sort of your first verse and when it gets into that like bridge section too. That's a tough spot too, because you know, you could just use that time to walk from one side of the stage to the other side of the stage and be like, now something different's happening. But I think, you know, if like you can utilize that, there's thoughts happening, and your thoughts are changing, and that's motivating that movement. Like, let that come across on your face. Maybe you change it from, you know, like, you know, we check the translation of this because we have phones now, and I can use that to do this. Okay, yeah. So you can use that time to. You've been thinking about bragging about that thing you're great at. Now make it a bit more specific for this next thing. Make it, you're not bragging to your group of friends who care about this. You're bragging about it to your rival. The person who's almost as good at you at it and really is trying to be, but you're still just that much better. And really like use that as a way to dial up the stakes. At just going with that same idea of the thought exchange there. Yeah, and again, you can get stuck in the sort of the general movements. I mean, again, stick with this specific movement. I'm cool with that. You will have some kind of flower beginning to somebody there, or many flowers, or whatever the production regards. And I think that's in a performance like this, like in a jury setting, that's fine. Pantomime can be a trap sometimes. Because some people think they're better at miming things than they are. And then you get up and you're like miming, like eating a sandwich or something like during your aria, and the jurors are just like, ugh, please stop. Or the auditioners or whatever. I've been in situations like that. And you can see them cringing. But yeah, so anyways, you want to pick it up from as you get to the end of that first section, and then fill in that sort of musical interlude. Where should we start from? Let's go from.
Okay.
Yeah.
Carl, you got a couple minutes probably.
Thank you.
Il tuo
practice of performing. And I say a repertoire of gesture because those general gestures can be general in a context and very specific in others. And so just having them at your behest to call upon when the music calls for it is really the name of the game as you like get further on into performing. So I'd say get in front of a mirror. That's another platitude I feel like teachers get, but like get in front of the mirror and just become acquainted with like what your body actually looks like when you're, measuring fish, as Richard says. Or, these kind of moves, whatever, right? Like being aware of like when you're too inside of yourself when you're singing something, and can open it up is an important thing, because some songs you want this, other songs you want this. And I'd say just keep going, but always thinking of like knowing for yourself, and in a colloquial way, like what the character of this is. Because it's easy to say this is the translation. It's harder to say this piece is about me bragging about how I'm the best, or people can't resist how great I am, and like developing an insight from there. So great job. Round of applause.